With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select James Venerable, Panera Bread University. Ooh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the PHNX Daily Bet Show. I'm your host, Shane Diefenbach, joined by Johnny Venerable, as always. What do you have to say, Johnny?
My name is not James, but my middle name is Wilbur. I'm John Wilbur Venerable, and I'm here as the first overall pick in the 2023. Did you ever see that video that went viral last year? It might have been somebody for Barstool, where he pretended he got drafted, and he got called in his little shitty hotel, and it was like, got drafted by the Lions, and it was just this scrawny kid. That would be like the greatest thing ever, is some random person just gets drafted.
I've always wanted to go to where the draft is and that night dress up like in a suit or something, or maybe and then a suit, and then wear a team's hat, and then have just a huge squad around me.
You could pull it off because you're tall enough to, and the average Joe would be like, "Oh, what's he play? Is he,
I'm Ben Skronsky."
Right. But I could not pull that off. People would be like, "Whose assistant are you? Whose nephew are you? Who's
is that Mike McDaniel?"
That's Mike McDaniel's little brother, Scotty McDaniel.
James McDaniel.
All right. Let's talk about it.
'Tis the season, Johnny. You've been wanting to talk about this forever. You have talked about this forever. Before we get into it, though, if you want a place to watch the draft, I think all the RSVPs have filled up for tomorrow's draft party at Four Peaks, but you can still show up. You just won't be able to be in the exclusive section with Johnny and Bo. It's going to be a good time, so make sure to head out there. And if not, you can watch it on YouTube as well. They'll be live streaming live from Four Peaks 8th Street Pub in Tempe. But Johnny, 'tis the season. It is time. Let's talk about the NFL draft.
I would love to. And it's been a monumental offseason for the Cardinals. It hasn't. It's been a wet fart. But they actually have to make picks. They are on the clock. They are on the mother effing clock. They are going to be forced to improve their team, unlike the past two off seasons. So, BetMGM sports app, check it out right now. It's got odds for the first 5 picks. It's got odds for the first defensive player taken. I hope that some of you out there were a little bit more, proactive than I was. Bryce Young, minus 1,400, not worth dabbling on. That's going to be the pick. CJ Stroud, when the Carolina Panthers traded up with the Chicago Bears, was minus like 340. So if you, like my friend Shane Diefenbach, had the foresight to say, well, Bryce Young is the top quarterback available, he's going to go first overall, kudos to you. That pick's a wash. It's not betting. Don't put money on Will Levis. Don't put money on CJ Stroud. That pick, we're going to pour one out for the first overall pick.
Yeah, for sure. Dalton in the chat saying, boys, we're live from Kansas City. Dalton Cates, friend of the program, is at the draft.
Friend, Dalton.
He's probably nuking some crazy line that's about some 6th rounders falling to the 7th round. Well, all of these odds right now are available at BetMGM. As Johnny said, you can bet on the first player drafted from each position. One that intrigues me is Dalton Kincaid at plus 130 to be the first tight end taken off the board. All these are at BetMGM. So make sure, if you haven't yet, sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, you will get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, just make sure you use that bonus code PHNX. Plus, we got knockout nights, a cornhole league during the first Friday of every single month. They're free to enter, and they will include food and beverage specials, giveaways, and BetMGM prizes. Johnny, do you have a team name for your team yet?
The Cuties, the Sweeties, something like that. Something real innocent. Yeah. And then we're just going to come out slinging.
You can sling some bets at BetMGM right now. And as I said, just use that promo code PHNX when you sign up. Bonus code PHNX when you sign up. And now, I know I have a beautiful mustache, but what about my beautiful voice reading this beautiful disclaimer from the one, the only BetMGM?
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Yeah. Dalton in the chat saying, I got Shane to have a beautiful mustache at -1,000. That is a lucky charm. Throw $1,000 on that. Win what? $100? Yeah.
Yep.
Let's do it. All right, let's do it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's go one by one. So obviously, first overall pick, we're going Bryce Young. Clearly, it's been like that for a while. Now Tyree Wilson is now the favorite, and it's slipping away. He's plus 135 to go second overall. Do you think that's the pick?
Right now, today, yes. Did I think it was the pick yesterday or 2 days ago? I did not. I did not buy into the hoopla. But, I don't cover that team. The people who cover that team that are connected with that team, the Lance Zierleins of the world, have said for a month it's going to be Tyree Wilson. He put out a mock draft. He said, get it while you can. It was probably plus 500 at the time. Now you've got people like Peter Schrager coming out and saying, yeah, this is going to be the pick. There was some other prominent NFL insider. I think they like Tyree Wilson, like the Cardinals, more than Will Anderson Jr. So you're not basically arguing Tyree Wilson or Will Anderson Jr. You're arguing Tyree Wilson or quarterback, Tyree Wilson or Will Levis and or CJ Stroud. I think the only other option to consider, Tyree Wilson at plus 135 is obviously the favorite. The only other place to dabble on would be CJ Stroud at plus 500. I don't think Will Levis is going top 3. I think that's garbage. I think that's teams trying to really kind of shit, unfortunately, all over CJ Stroud. So I would say the only 2 lines to consider here, you want to go, if you've been all in on CJ Stroud this entire draft process, don't waver this week. Don't waver over the last 2 weeks when you hear all this garbage, smear campaigns. It's either going to be Tyree Wilson, I believe, or CJ Stroud second overall.
Yeah. I believe what everyone is saying. The Will Levis shit is so it's just there's no shot.
DeMeco Ryans, you think DeMeco Ryans, with all due respect, is going to look at Will Levis and say, I'm sticking my career to that guy? I'm going to say that's a big no.
Yeah. Any chance Will Anderson Jr. goes second overall, Johnny?
I mean, there's always a chance, but I think what we're seeing now is the reality of the NFL inner circles that we heard whispers about at the NFL Combine when we were there, is that Will Anderson Jr. is still a very good prospect, but he is what people believe is a more decorated, but less, I don't want to say less productive. He's got a smaller ceiling compared to Tyree Wilson. They are infatuated with Tyree Wilson's size, ability. They probably watched hours upon hours of his tape and said they've utilized him incorrectly. Here's what we can do with him. And they're probably right. My big pushback is he's 18 months older than Will Anderson Jr. If you go through, he's 23 years old. If he plays all 5 years of his rookie deal, he's going to be in his almost 30 years old. He's going to be 28 and a half. So that means you're probably only going to get one extension out of Tyree Wilson worth a damn. Whereas Will Anderson Jr. is 21, 5 years, he'll be 26. You could get 2 more deals out of Will Anderson Jr. So Tyree Wilson over Will Anderson Jr. is not something that I want my Arizona Cardinals to have to decide. I know what they would pick. That would be a shitstorm for this fan base. It would be very beneficial for Houston, and I think they will, making the decision for the Cardinals and taking Tyree Wilson.
The no shot Jalen Carter sneaks in to 2 or 3.
0.000.
Is he going top 5?
I think he's going top 6. I think he'll end up in either Detroit or Seattle. I think Detroit feels like with their infrastructure, with their coaching staff, they feel, and the fact they're playing with house money, they've had so many firsts, like Seattle, like similar reasons. Established coaches. I mean, Carroll obviously more so than Dan, but they've got multiple ones. They can screw around. They can miss on a top 10 pick. It wouldn't cost them their career. Those 2 guys feel like the sure thing. He's not going to Atlanta. He's not going to the Raiders, right? Yeah. The Bears, I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. I think if he goes in the top 10, which everybody's telling us now he's going to go, it'll be Seattle or Detroit.
We got a comment from Dalton saying
Zierlein did he give his rationale as to why he changed?
For those on audio, he said Lance Zierlein changed to Will Anderson today on his radio show for what it's worth.
Lance, you're all over the place.
Yeah. All right. So 3, assuming the Cardinals don't trade out of 3, is it Will Anderson if it shakes out the way we think?
I don't think that's a sure thing by any means. I would say, and this is not a homer pick, I promise. I would say if you're going to stay away from dabbling on one of these picks, stay away from the Cardinals right now because they want to trade down. Their preference is to not make a pick. So my preference is to not tell you to put money on a player to go 3rd overall when it's not going to be the Arizona Cardinals. Like, we can't telegraph who's going to trade up. Like, do I think if they stick and pick, I think it's between 3 players, Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson Jr., and Paris Johnson Jr., which, by the way, is plus 400. But you're not going to get Paris Johnson Jr. odds at plus 400 if the Cardinals pick is in, if that makes sense. And
I like CJ Stroud at plus 350 to go here. I think the Cardinals trade out of this, and it's to a team quarterback hungry like Tennessee.
I mean, look at BetMGM. The odds are plus 300, plus 350, plus 350, plus 400. They don't know what the Cardinals are going to do.
Nobody knows what the Cardinals are going to do. All right, going to 4. Will Levis, the favorite here at plus 130. Then CJ Stroud at plus 200. Anthony Richardson plus 300. And then some guys that probably are already picked here. Below that, is it one of those 3 or is it someone shocking?
I think it's Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson
is an Indianapolis Colt.
Yeah, I think he infatuates their ownership. I think they want to become Baltimore light. They want to run the football with their vaunted running game, their offensive line once upon a time that was great. I think if you put CJ Stroud or Will Levis behind that offensive line, they're going to get destroyed. Look at what Shane Steichen did with Jalen Hurts, runner before thrower first. I think Anthony Richardson, I could see Indy coming from 4 to 3 to secure Anthony Richardson. It would be surprising. You put me on record if Richardson's not a Colt by the end of the night on Thursday. So plus 300, 4th overall pick. The only way you get screwed there is if they come up to 3 and they take him.
Isn't it just? I know Steichen is. It's different now, but isn't Will Levis just such an Indianapolis Colt? Doesn't that just feel so right?
Well, here there's a. I'm not going to say there's a racial component, but like they have not had typically a black quarterback, an African-American quarterback outside of that one-off year of Jacoby Brissett. And it's like, you think about like, I don't know, the history of that franchise. And they're like, we have to have pocket passers and there's distinguished.
And Carson Wentz,
Phillip Rivers. And so it's like, I do think that Steichen comes in and is like, hey, we got a new way of operating offensively. But Ballard's the factor. And I think if you're Ballard, you'd be stupid not to, because here's why. Your job's on the line. You have to give Jim Irsay a sign of hope.
100%.
You've got to turn it around. Anthony Richardson could come into this league and have a Justin Fields kind of second year as a rookie. I think could run around and have like 600 yards rushing and look competent, right? Play action, boot him out. You put Will Levis in there and try to make him a pocket passer, you're going to win 2 games. That roster is terrible. Richardson injects enthusiasm into that franchise. But I'm with you. I do think that I think Colts and I think we need this big, sturdy pocket passer. If they think that, then they deserve to be a dumpster. I don't think Steichen thinks that though.
Yeah. Then going to 5, if this all shakes out, it's the favorite for a reason, and this would just be so Seattle. They got rid of their interior defensive line. Pete Carroll's known for his Frank Clarks, guys with trouble off the field, but making it work out. And Jalen Carter was the best player in the draft before all of the stuff off the field. I think Jalen Carter goes 5 to Seattle if everything happens like the way it does.
I think too. I think that's smart. I think their quarterback interest is real, but also a ploy to get teams to come up to push him down.
Same.
Although I don't even think it's necessary now. I think he's going to be there. I mean, you can't even get plus money on it now on BetMGM. It's minus 105, which is great. Wow. And I think they have the infrastructure. And I think with Geno Smith, like he loves Geno Smith. They don't want to go through a Russell Wilson thing where you get a young quarterback who's drafted high. I know Russ wasn't drafted high, but he was coronated. You draft a quarterback high, they're going to be coronated. And then Pete and John are going to be like, no, this is how we do things. I think they like Geno because he is very by the book. He does what's asked of him. He's productive in the offense, and they can do what they want to do. And goodness, it pains me to say this Seahawk rebuild that we all telegraphed is probably just not going to happen. They're probably just going to smooth right into, I don't know if they'll win a Super Bowl, obviously, with Geno, because I think he's limited, but they're just going to be a consistent playoff contender. And if they get the best version of Jalen Carter, they're going to get a top 3 defensive tackle.
Yeah. I wouldn't be completely shocked. I mean, it totally depends. If the Cardinals trade out of it and Stroud goes 3, if Stroud slips to 5, though, if Stroud or Richardson slipped to 5, I mean, I wouldn't be completely shocked.
I think they think because they got Russ in the 3rd round, they took Geno off the scrap heap. They probably think to themselves, we can get cute and get a mid-round quarterback,
Yeah,
have him play our style of ball.
But the Seattle Seahawks historically do not draft well in the 1st round. So they might try to switch up what they've been doing. Because
This is the last time that we're going to see them in the top 10 for a while. So that's the only thing leaning for me to agree with you is like, when we be picking, we got a gift from the football gods with the Broncos sucking ass.
Yeah.
Do we want to make the most? But I think you could make an argument, Shane, if they're not going to take a quarterback, I'm sure they have Jalen Carter as the best player in the draft. So
I think they need.
We're getting the best player in the draft, 6 overall.
What if Will Anderson Jr. is still there? And Jalen Carter.
I think he's an option, but I also think the same reasons he wouldn't go 2 or 3, the same reasons he wouldn't go 6 or 5 is because he doesn't have the length, and these teams value that. Now, I think it's a crock of shit, and I think he's an 8 to 12 sacks per year guy, but we overthink this. I would say that would be more disappointing as a Cardinal fan to see him end up in Seattle than Jalen or a quarterback because of the character and then my personal feelings on Will Anderson Jr. that I do think on and off the field combined, he's the best player in the draft.
Yeah, I think there's a real possibility where if a couple trades happen in the top 5, or even if Houston surprises people and takes a quarterback, the Seahawks will have a choice between Will Anderson Jr. and Jalen Carter. I think they go Jalen Carter, and then Will Anderson Jr. becomes a Detroit Lion with Aiden Hutchinson. I think that could happen.
We're either going to have a point where there's not going to be a run on quarterbacks, and it's going to spook a bunch of teams to not take a quarterback, or the quarterbacks are going to go 1 through 4, and there's going to be elite position players left for the top 5, the remaining top 10, I should say.
All right. Well, let's talk about the remaining bets you can make at BetMGM. Let's go by position. First receiver drafted. Not really much value in this, I don't think. I think JSN is pretty clearly going to be the first player drafted.
We'll see. There was a rumor today the Jets, of course, want to pair him with Garrett Wilson, which I think is stupid. Like pairing receivers with I get the quarterback receiver pairing. Zay Flowers, the Chiefs are infatuated with him. Like if Kansas City does not get DeAndre Hopkins, I could see them trading up for Zay Flowers. 100%.
That just doesn't seem very Kansas City to me. I don't.
Why are they working out? Why are they working him out then? Why is Mahomes throwing with Zay Flowers?
I don't know. So JSN, you don't think anything crazy happens?
He's a great player. He's a great player. Kyle in the chat, is D up to the Ravens a possibility? Maybe like 10%. I think it clearly a 2-team race with Buffalo leading over Kansas City, but I think the Cardinals would like for you to think that the Ravens are a possibility. I just don't. Ravens are going to get D-Hop and Odell Beckham, and they're going to re-sign Lamar. Okay.
I saw something really fun on ESPN. One, Herm Edwards was on my television or on office television this morning.
You miss him?
So much. He said that the Ravens should trade Lamar for the 2nd overall pick to Houston. And I was like, why would either team want that?
I think Lamar and Houston and Baltimore just need to figure it out.
I think they're going to. Lamar Jackson is a Baltimore Raven. He just is.
Yeah.
It just makes the most sense. All right. As I said, first tight end drafted, I think, is Dalton Kincaid. I think he's the best tight end in this draft. I'm not buying the Michael Myers crap. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm a Pac-12 defender, and I'm a Notre Dame non-believer in the last couple of years. And I like what Michael Myers does. He does everything. I just think Dalton Kincaid is pretty damn good, especially in terms of what the tight end position has turned into. He's a Mark Andrews type. He can high point balls. He can block okay, but he's a really good player, and I think a lot of teams are gonna want him higher than most people think.
I agree with that. I think there's value at plus 130. Darnell Washington's not going to be the first tight end drafted, but if we fast forward in 3 years and Darnell Washington has like double-digit touchdown seasons because he ended up with the right quarterback, that would not surprise me at all.
He's just got so many drop problems that he's a blocking tight end, and people want to paint him as this crazy receiving tight end. He's a true blocking tight end.
He's 6'7", 270 pounds. We romanticize mid tight ends because of fantasy football. Let's say he goes to Buffalo or Kansas City or somewhere like that, or the Chargers with Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow. Like, it would not surprise me if you just like, oh yeah, he only has like 500 yards receiving, but he's got double-digit tight ends. Like, that's production. Now, if he goes to the wrong team with an accurate quarterback, that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. He just, I mean, yeah, he had a lot of drop problems in college.
He did, but he also had, I mean, Stetson Bennett. I mean, just leave it there. I'm not.
Oh,
a
I
fan.
love this. Put on the tinfoil hats. Ben in the chat saying CJ Stroud doing mind games, doing bad on the test on purpose so he can so he can fall to the Raiders.
There was a rumor that the Raiders preferred Bryce Young. Well, hey, Raiders, if you preferred Bryce Young, you would have needed to lose most of your games.
Hey,
like, that's a crock of shit, too.
Hey,
or you needed to pull the trigger to go up with Chicago.
I prefer a Lamborghini over my Honda Accord, but I don't have that option.
Vegas. If you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you have to come away with quarterback. I mean, you had a bust your first year. You shipped out Derek Carr, who I don't know if he's going to have success. He's mid. Jimmy Garoppolo is not making it through a full season. I think there's a real chance. Josh McDaniels knows. I need an extension. I need a lifeline. I need a quarterback. Stroud makes the most sense. I think that's a very real possibility with the Arizona Cardinals at pick 3.
Any chance Peter Skoronski gets drafted above Paris Johnson Jr.?
I think there's a small chance of about 20%, but Paris Johnson Jr., who I've been a fan of for months now, Peter Skoronski might have a higher ceiling as a guard than Paris does as a tackle, but he's a guard. I think he's a guard. You can't take a guard over an elite left tackle prospect. His arms are too short. And I know that I know he played left tackle at Northwestern. I've got everybody and their mom on Twitter saying, well, he can play left tackle in the NFL. NFL people are not projecting him to be a left tackle. Paris Johnson Jr. is 6'6". He's a mountain of a man. He's got ballerina feet, and he was elite. He's gonna be drafted over Skoronski.
Yeah, Paris Johnson Jr. is really good. He's really good. I really like him.
If the Cardinals take him 3 overall, people are going to lose their shit. I would be 100% okay with that.
Speaking of things I really like this corner class, Johnny. I think it's really good.
These are tremendous odds, by the way. Christian Gonzalez at plus 200. You should hammer that. Hammer it hard.
Yeah. What would a team see in Christian Gonzalez that would make them reach instead of Devin Witherspoon? Is it that freak athleticism and is this vertical, or is it?
Yeah, and it's your preference too. They're probably, we have him on our big board higher, slightly higher. I think it's competition level of play. The passing games in the Pac-12 compared to the Big Ten it's a joke. Now, Devin Witherspoon, it's just, what's your preference in your corner? Do you like big, long, athletic outside corners with ball skills, or do you like corners that are built kind of like Budda Baker, right? That are physical, but are you going to get the kind of ceiling that you want because maybe the game-changing plays aren't there? I think Christian Gonzalez has better tape than Devin Witherspoon. I think Devin Witherspoon's tape is very 90s-esque if you're into that sort of thing with big-time hits. He's a tackling machine, but Christian Gonzalez looks like, Patrick Surtain Jr. He's got the outside pedigree. The only concern is he transferred. He's only had 1 year at elite program, but he was fantastic. Plus 200, Christian Gonzalez. I'm told Detroit loves him at 6, and Atlanta loves him at 7, so at 8. So I think both of them go top 10. Of all of these first players drafted, I think Christian Gonzalez at plus 200 is a very sound bet. I think both of them should be a pickup, frankly.
Yeah. Yep. I love it. You can get all these odds, as I said, courtesy of BetMGM. Johnny and Bo will be live at 4 p.m. breaking down everything, you need to know before the draft, including getting to some of our diehards mock drafts as well. So make sure to tune in for that right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Johnny, anything else on the draft show before we get out of here?
Tomorrow, come to Four Peaks downtown at Tempe. We are nearing max capacity. That's never stopped us before. If you're rocking a PHNX hat and or shirt, your first brewski, your first beverage is going to be on Bo Brock and Johnny Venerable. The party starts at 2 p.m. I may just stay the night at Four Peaks. I'm going to need somebody to drive me back to the Copa. It's going to be a banner day, and we can't wait to celebrate it with all of you. Check us out. The link is on my Twitter at Johnny Venerable.
Love it. Well, Johnny and Bo and everyone else here at PHNX will need to hold it down. I'm gone tomorrow and Friday. So I'll leave you in soft and supple hands, like Johnny. But it's been a pleasure as always. We're live on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel every Monday through Friday at noon. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane Deef. You can follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Venerable. Follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_bets. Follow PHNX_sports across all socials, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And as I said, Monday through Friday at noon. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. I will not be there, but you'll see the stream tomorrow at noon. Until then, peace, love, and Johnny Wilbur Venerable